Hello everybody and welcome to Ramble number 3. So today I have a number of things I want to catch up on. Obviously some big news going on recently with the item buffs, debuffs, kind of changes going on. As well as some other things that are going on stream-wise, account-wise, that I want to talk about as well. Obviously, you probably notice all of the marked tiles on the screen. Do a quick panorama here. So I did an event recently on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AgileTom. If you haven't checked it out, but to celebrate 1 year of the first episode of Cox Chunk, that was April 15th. Did a special 12-hour stream, and in that stream, just as a special thing, anybody who supported got to mark a tile, pick their color, and pick what it said. So just kind of a fun thing to close out this grind as well. We won't be here too much longer, so if it is kind of an eyesore for you, you won't have to see it too much, I promise. But I think it was a cool way to commemorate the anniversary of that first video, the video that started it all for this account. And yeah, the viewers seem to like it as well in the stream. Obviously, I want to keep these tiles here forever, honestly, to remember this grind, to remember those streams, everybody who stuck around with me. So thank you for all the people who donated and bought a tile and made me do some exercises too. That was another forfeit as well. Chat loves making me work. So yep, that was a lot of fun. And yeah, let's get on to these equipment rebalancing topics. I know it's a big thing for everybody, and Jagex is clearly trying to buff my account again after the Cox changes initially, making the raid about 10% easier in my opinion. Now they are making the items, the purples that I'm trying to get, even better. So let's talk about that. Obviously, probably the big one, the one that everybody's talking about, the Elder Maul is getting buffed. Now, this is a weapon that's been a mega rare, been in the game since 2017. And yeah, it's been like consistently under 10 mil for like the last year. Recently, I think, went up in price for Perilous Moons. I'm pretty sure it's good at one of the bosses for one section of it. It was like 45 mil, and now it's like jumped up to 150 mil-ish. Kind of crazy to imagine that, but it is a mega rare from a raid, and it's never been in the spotlight, so kind of cool that they are finally trying to give it some use, like not even thinking about my account in general, just for the game. Probably a good thing that a mega rare tier 75 melee weapon is gonna have some use now, which is good. So yeah, they are, if you don't know, they are looking to put a special attack on the Elder Maul. Never had a special attack before. It's gonna cost 50% special attack energy, and what it does is reduce your opponent's defense by 35% on a successful hit. And you might be thinking, well, the Dragon Warhammer does the same thing, but the Dragon Warhammer only lowers defense by 30%, so it is slightly better than the Dragon Warhammer. That extra 5% would probably make a bigger difference than you'd think. And overall, it's just a more accurate weapon in general as well. So even without the defender offhand that the Dragon Warhammer gets, it's going to be a lot more accurate to the Dragon Warhammer. And then on top of that, they also want to add 25% spec accuracy for the special attack. So kind of crazy. So it'll be insanely accurate and produce more defense than Dragon Warhammer, which I think is good, honestly. Overall, game-wise, kind of makes sense. Dragon Warhammer is kind of a mid-tier 60 attack, or not even 60 attack, I think it's 1 attack, 60 strength to wield a Dragon Warhammer. So you don't even have to be that high of a level to use it. plus it comes from a med level monster, it comes from lizardmen shamans. They want to actually make the Dragon Warhammer more common. So I think kind of the dynamic of it will be that the Dragon Warhammer is now like a cheaper alternative for the Eldamaw, something that a Iron Man can grind out earlier to kind of get them into PVMing, because obviously endgame raid, going for an Elder Maul specifically is going to be pretty tough. So most people in their progression will be getting a Dragon Warhammer first and then going to raid. So it kind of makes sense. I don't know what price it's all gonna end up being, but I feel like the Dragon Warhammer will be in a nice, cheaper alternative kind of section to the Elder Maul. And if somebody is still bringing a Dragon Warhammer to raids, you know, they're not completely trolling unless you're going for speed run or something. But yeah, kind of good for the game, it seems, in general. For me specifically, for the Cox Chunk accounts, it's nice to have a bit more consistent defense reduction in the raids. So not including me, my teammates still have to bring Dragon Warhammers, reduce defense of the monsters in the raid. And yeah, now it's just going to be easier. They land specs, well, the land specs, first of all, is going to be easier. Less zeros and less resetting. Barely have to reset as is, even with the Dragon Warhammer being what it is. So I guess just less chance of resetting. Reducing the defense of most monsters is going to help me probably more than others. Those with T-bows already and stuff. Like, let's say on boss or something. You usually don't spec boss's defense down, but if somebody were to use an Elder Maul spec on Vasa, would help me out probably more than the T-bower, who's, you know, hitting 80% of the time anyway. Me with my magic short bow. So overall, it'd be good for me. There's also that new ranged weapon, the Tenal Sticks. They probably need to buff that a bit more. Might be good in some of the rooms and raids, or for Ulm specifically. Would definitely help me hit better if somebody were to reduce the defensive Ulm head. And you know my arrows are very precious to me, so I want to utilize those as well as I can. So yeah, that might be something we will try to do in our upcoming challenge mode raids, is to at minimum have somebody bring those Tenal Sticks just to test it out at first. Maybe use that at Olmhead at least. Probably good on Vasa as well, has very high magic. On the CMs in general, once I get my Elder Maul, I will be able to help the team out to reduce the defense of the monsters as well, which is overall good for everybody. Most people will consider somebody to not bring a Dragon Warhammer a leech, so no longer a leech. And for the Onyx grind, obviously I had to get the Onyx from Tecton, and can't really get that in team raids. So the plan was, once I had Elder Maul, once I had max stats, we would go and just find Tecton raids, Tecton first, and just try to do as many Tecton kills as we could by just scouting raids, killing Tecton, leaving. It's probably my best method for the Onyx, and it's solo. Nice little beekeeper random. And in general, like 2 specs down on Tecton is gonna speed up the kills by a lot, probably more than double the speed of the kills, which obviously is like more than half of the time spent on it. So that'll be very good and make one of our later grinds much easier. So I cannot complain with that. And even disregarding my account, I think overall Elder Maul buff probably good. Next up is Ancestral. So they are nerfing the Cult Necklace. If anybody doesn't know, the Cult Necklace currently has 10% magic damage, which is more than any other magic item besides weapons. And yeah, that is a massive DPS increase. Got a ninja implant wandering over there. Here. Thank you. Oh god, we love the arrow drops. Thank you, thank you. Love to see it. Anyway. Yeah, so a Cult Necklace is going to go from a 10% magic damage to 4%, which is huge. Big difference. After that, like the biggest damage increase item is going to be Tormented Bracelet, which kind of makes sense. Tormented Bracelet stays in line with like pricing of the other Zenites, which is usually between 10 and 15 mil. So costs more than an occult. Should be better than an occult, I guess. Ancestral obviously costs a lot, and to make up for the 6% decrease in the occult, Ancestral is looking to be buffed to 3% per piece over the current 2% damage per piece, which is pretty good. Initially, they were proposing 4% per piece, and oh my god, that would have been so amazing for me, but 3% is fine, honestly. Any buff is fine. Like, typically, one Ancestral piece, I think I've gone over this before in the videos, but one single Ancestral piece doesn't give me a max hit. 2 Ancestral pieces, still no max hit. I need 3 Ancestral pieces to get 1 max hit. With this Ancestral buff, I should be getting at least 2 max hits with the full Ancestral set, which is definitely really good. Magic being one of my lacking styles, definitely. Melee, definitely number 1, and once we get a T-bow, range will probably be our best style in a lot of cases for sure. So, Ancestral buffed. Other magic gear is getting some damage to offset the occult as well. Like Aram's getting +1 per piece. Infinity +1. Third Age Mage +1. The Dagonhai +1. And Elder Chaos Druids +1. So it's all overall like just semi buff around the board. They're thinking of adding damage to Eternals, which is okay, I guess, you know, not a big deal. There'll be a lot of switching involved when it comes to magic from now on, I believe. Maybe some use cases you wouldn't have to bring Eternals. Also, Eternals are usually easier to get than like Ancestral for most Iron Men, so kind of offsets like the early game magic that you would have lost from Occult. So that's pretty good. And yeah, even like offhands will have a significant boost in damage. Like they're giving 3% damage to Arcane, which is pretty cool. Also go into like Mage's Book 2% and maybe some other stuff. Don't quite remember off the top of my head, but yeah, some other pieces of equipment are getting some damage. Sears Ring as well, that's right. Sears Ring. Very little, but yeah, I mean, a little bit can kind of add up when it comes to things like Shadow. So I guess that's cool. And elemental spell changes are coming as well. That goes right in line with the Ancestral. So like my current spells, I obviously am locked to the normal spell book. Will be for a long time. So elemental spell changes are nice for sure. So things are getting like significant weaknesses to certain spells. Like Ice Demon, already in the game, had a weakness to fire spells, but I guess that's getting buffed even more. Home of Fire is becoming less useful, but I think overall you'll still probably be hitting more with fire spells than you would have before on Ice Demon. And I forget if there were any other spell changes in Chambers. Maybe Skeletons had a weakness to air or something like that. I don't really think I'd be using that. Skeletal Mystics have pretty high magic defense in general, so don't think that'll be used there. I don't want to say for sure though. There's also going to be like other weaknesses brought into the game as well, like range ammunition will warrant weaknesses as well. I think that the Spula portal will have a weakness to like arrow weapons, which might boost the Twisted Bow there. Currently the Shadow is best in slot on the Abyssal portal in the Vespula room. So maybe T-Bow will be back on top with this change. We'll see. Other things will be trigger to bolts or light ammunition, which would include like blowpipe, darts, and knives. Kind of the quicker ammunition there. But I think most things in Chambers will be weak to like arrows. I forgot what the terminology was on that. But yeah, whatever uses arrows, I guess, would be a certain weakness. They're also changing autocast delay. So currently when you use a spell and you are autocasting, let's say Fire Wave, if you click on an NPC with the autocast enabled, there's a 1 tick delay before you cast that spell, and they're removing that. So elemental spells will work just like powered staffs. You click on something with a Tumican Shadow, you just hit it right away. There's no delay. And it's going to be like that for elemental spells too, which is obviously good for me. One use case specifically is for my solos. I'll have to do at least a couple solos with the combat achievements. And currently what I have to do is go to the spell book, click spell, click Olm Hand, run, click spell, click Olm Hand, run. And with the spell being far away, Olm Hand being far away, and smaller click box, it just gets kind of hard to have perfect clicks all the time. So obviously I've done trials on how solos would go for me, and yeah, there's gonna be some misclicks with the autocast delay how it currently is. So removing that is all around good. I don't think anybody is denying that that would be a good thing. So overall, good update, I feel. Plus, another thing with elemental spells is that if something does not have a weakness to a specific element, then all the spells are going to be equal, and their max hit will be based on your level. And let's say you're doing wave spells. Once you reach level 75, which is the requirement for Fire Wave, on something that has no elemental weakness, an Earth Wave, a Water Wave, an Air Wave will hit the same max hit as a Fire Wave, which is pretty good. Obviously I get a ton of Earth runes from these trolls, as you can see. So yeah, Earth spells are what we'll be using most of the time. Either that or probably air spells, because I think that they take less runes. I'm not sure, but it might be worth it XP wise for me to be using Earth spells. I don't know what that will entail. If not, then scratch that, but we'll see. Overall, very good, especially for my account where I'm saving all my fire runes for a potential smithing grind in the future, where we'll have to use the the spell for smithing. Can't think of it right now. And last but not least is Augury, the Arcane Prayer Scroll, Augury Prayer, 77 Prayer. To use that, that's getting buffed to a 4% damage. So currently Augury has no damage, it's only accuracy and defense that Augury gives. As a level 77 prayer, the highest level prayer currently, it's been pretty lackluster since it came into the game in 2017. Like, these are some changes that, you know, we've been waiting for I think a long time in most cases. Like, Augury wasn't useless before, but yeah, it wasn't worth me getting all the way to 77 prayer when I'm already going for 74 from these trolls. And Rigor has throughout the years been the obviously better prayer over Augury's, so I guess it's Augury's time to shine. The 4% damage, basically better than an ancestral piece to have Augury on currently, unless you're using a shadow. I believe it doesn't multiply prayers with the shadows like 3 times the damage special effects. So, but overall, Augury will probably be used in most cases. And for me, all these magic buffs are going to be a total of 7% magic damage, which is insane, honestly. Yeah, that is going to be a big buff to me. That'll be like 3 max hits, at least 3 to 4 overall max hits. Just Augury might be 1 to 2 max hits with just getting the prayer. Also, Mystic Might's gonna get a buff too, so Augury gets 4% damage, and Mystic Might will have 2% damage. Mystic Lore, which is the prayer before that, will have a 1% magic damage. So these spells getting used as well. But I don't feel like going for 77 prayer like any earlier now, which I think I might be tempted to get 77 prayer a little bit earlier than I was initially expecting to. So yeah, I might get that earlier, but if not, then I've got Mystic Might to deal with. And every chunk count is gonna have Mystic Might pretty much. So that's good for basically every chunk account. Magic is gonna overall better for us chunkers, where it's hard to get things like the Occult Necklace, Tormentor Bracelet, these things. So overall, good for us, good for the chunk count. And yeah, that's it's a lot to go through. There's obviously a lot more on these changes, a lot more changes that don't affect this account that you guys can look up yourselves. I'll probably put a link in the description to the actual blog post so you can take a look for yourself. There's a few other good changes going up there. And yeah, I'm excited for it. We are counting down the days till the end of this troll grind, and we will unlock the Rigor Prayer. Excited for that. Starting up with the CMs again. New video will come out as soon as I'm done with this grind. I know it's been a little while, but yeah, very soon, I promise. And yeah, so the streams will be full force when we're doing the CMs as well. If you want to be part of the CM team, always just message me in game, of course. And yeah, thanks for listening to my ramble. And yeah, have a great day, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.